found a lawnmower. Huh? What is it? It's a Brute. Oh, it's got a Briggs. Oh, that'll be cool. Alright, this is cool right here. Somebody built this thing. This is that's like a custom saw. But it's got a really nice motor. Did get another lawnmower, didn't I, Ivy Sue?
Yeah.
She's upset with me right now. She's not feeling it. Okay. Got several of these I picked up out of the off the curb recently. Not out of the trash. Well, that one was. That one right there on the end is a Honda. And it was actually in the trash bin, so that it was in one of these trash bins on the curb a couple of streets over, and it was sitting face down in the thing with the handle sticking up, and I didn't know what it was at first. I drove by and I thought, what is that? Is that one of those lawnmowers that, you know, has the, I don't know, that rotates like a cylinder on the front, you know, like the old style? And when I got out, I realized, no, it's not. It's a whole lawnmower that's a regular one that's stuck in there. So I turned the thing on its back and got it out, and so there's that one. The problem with that one, we'll check it out another day. I think that one's probably going to take more work than this one, hopefully. This one is missing a battery, and this is one of those 40-volt electric ones. This is a Cobalt. It did not have, unfortunately, it didn't have the grass bagger. This one didn't have the bagger either. But this one came with the bagger. But check this out. So I've got these three guys here. Here's my regular mower back there, the one I use on my yard. So I've got that guy that I usually use, and that was not a curb find, but that was a neighbor who was switching to electric, and he couldn't get that one started, so he gave it to me, and I got it started fairly easily by messing with it for about 5 minutes, and but he had already bought an electric at that point and really didn't need it back, so I just kept it, and I'm using it. This thing I found on the curb as well. That's a pressure washer. So you're looking at a lot of accumulation that's been happening over the winter time and all spring so far, and I haven't really gotten a chance to get out here yet and fix any of this stuff or check the viability of any of it or any of that stuff. But you know, we've got this on the curb, that on the curb. You can see that right there. Here's another edger. There's two edgers there actually, and then I've got just lots of stuff really, man, that I need to get to. There's here is another mower that I got on the curb this spring. Right here. This one is a Brute.
The essence of man.
Yeah, this one's labeled a Brute. And it has a Briggs and Stratton 725ex, and we've repaired one of those engines on the channel before, or at least on my other channel. I think I'm going to move all of my videos from the other channel over to this one that are not guitar related eventually. Just kind of move them a little at a time, possibly. I don't know, haven't decided yet, but we'll see. Anything going forward that's not guitar related will be over on this channel, which again is now called The Fixologist. Got this last year. That was a curb find. And then I've got that Yard Machines. I did a quick video on it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I've got that one, and that one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got 7 mowers to repair. Let's start with the newest one that I got the other day. This is a Troy built, what is this, a TB240? But it's a Honda motor, GCV 160. So this should be a good mower, I would think. And it looks to be in pretty good condition. It's probably fairly new, just looking at it. At least it hadn't been stored outside, I don't think. And if it was, it wasn't for very long. But it's in, like I said, it's in good shape. But one thing I noticed when I got it off the curb, and which gives me hope, gives me actually a lot of hope, is that the gas line is off. So usually if somebody was going to start something, you know, after a winter storage, they would try to put gas in it. You know, they would turn the gas line on and then go to town, right? You wouldn't do all of that and then try to start it and realize that it wasn't starting and put it at the curb after you put this back in that position, would you? I mean, you just wouldn't do that. But this is how I found it, with the gas line off. So I'm crossing fingers here that is the only problem with this thing, and it might be a working mower. So I'm going to stick some gas in it first of all. We'll check the oil. I might as well go ahead and do that. Check the oil on it. See if we've got oil. Ooh, the oil. The dipstick, it was almost all the way off. I don't think I unscrewed that. I didn't do that. It's got oil, and it looks to be fairly clean oil. You see how it's kind of transparent? It's not real black. So that tells me somebody is probably taking pretty decent care of it. But yeah, this gives me hope, like I said, because I think we might get lucky on this. Let me throw a little bit of gas in it, and we'll see what it does. That's the only other thing, is that there's no gas. I mean, it's completely empty, so it's almost as if they pulled it out of storage and then just put it at the curb without using it at all. Because no gas and the gas line off, that tells me it was stored for the winter, but I don't know. What's up? Sometimes there's no accounting for things, you know. Maybe they got one of the newfangled electric ones and didn't want to go buy gas. Maybe that's it. I may as well check the deck as well. Well, the blade has probably seen better days, and it does need a sharpen. But I don't know. Right now, at least, I don't see any reason why this shouldn't work. Maybe they had problems with the drive mechanism, and they just, you know, didn't want to use it without the self-drive. Maybe they had problems at the end of last year or something. They just stored it away, thinking that they might fix it, and then didn't fix it. So, you know, maybe we'll just look forward to some drive mechanism problems. All right. What do you want to take bets? Okay. Starts on the first pull. Starts on the second pull. Pressing. I knew it. And I swear to God, I got this off of the curb not a week ago. Sitting at the curb on trash day, a couple of streets over. It's unbelievable, man. Maybe they just went to electric, and they didn't want to mess with gas anymore, which I can understand that, But the problem with the electric ones is, look, I found this electric one at the curb, and why? Because if you go to replace the battery in that, it's probably more than half of the cost of just the new mower, and the batteries will go out on you about every 2 to probably 3 years. You'll get about 3 years out of a battery before it starts to be unreliable, if you're lucky. And that's just a huge expense, and it's a huge waste. If you think you're helping the environment by not burning gas, look, this gas can right here is 5 gallons, and I can mow my yard. I mowed last year. I had 5 gallons worth of gas. I mowed the yard over here, front and back, and the yard over here on this property too, front and back, all year on 5 gallons. So do you really think that that's a big deal? You're hurting the environment with 5 gallons a year or thereabouts, to mow a typical property? It's because you're not going to harm the environment that much. You know, cumulatively, that stuff maybe adds up, but how much do you think it adds up if you're going to, you know, the Congo or something to mine nickel or cobalt or lithium? You know, how many Russian oligarchs do you think you're supporting by using all the lithium or cobalt? You know what I'm saying? You have to balance these things out and think them through, and I just don't think that many people consider what is going on in the world when they put something like this at the curb for the trash man to pick up. You know, or I guess maybe they hoped somebody else would get it, like me, which I did. Thankfully, it didn't go to the dump, but it could have. And then they've replaced it with something else, probably. That's my only rational reason why they would have done this, because it had no gas in it. The gas line was off. And it looks like it hadn't even been tried to start this year. And if they did try to start it, they only pulled it a few times with no gas in it. Didn't check the hose. So, what the hell, man? You know? Anyway, so that's not a repair at all. So let's look for something that it might be a repair. Let's pull this Brute out and see what's going on with that.
Come on, put it on.
Alright, now this one is legit broken, and we're going to have to find out what it is. I don't think this one has any compression at all. So this one is an engine issue. No, it does. Yeah, maybe it does. Yeah, you can. It's turning over, but it's not compressing at all. So, okay, so this is 725. The last time I fixed one of these, it ended up being a valve issue. So we'll maybe check that here in a bit, but I want to sit here. Listen to this as I pull it. You'll see what I mean. It just sounds like it's spinning with no real compression at all. So there's a problem with a valve, I think maybe being stuck. And sometimes when valves get stuck, it has to do with lack of maintenance. This one's got oil, but the oil's pretty black. Tell you what, let me grab my tools and we'll pop this cover off. Okay, so here's the air filter. That's pretty nasty. So that's probably, I'm sure that's never been changed. And once you guys go up there and crank on that thing while I feel of it and see if there's compression or not. I need a second person here. It's gonna be hard to do. This thing is in the damn way. It's sucking in. It's sucking in. There's no shut off on the gas, and there's no gas in it. You know what? Just for giggles, I want to see what it does when I put some gas in and crank it. All right. Again, I don't want to put a whole lot in it. Just enough to get it. But it's thirst here. if you're going to be able to see that or not. But it's looking pretty dirty, actually. Looks pretty dirty to me. Like, it's just got a bunch of oil and gunk on it, and also just the general state of the thing. I mean, spent some time outside for sure. Clean that up just a little bit and then see if we got spark on it. Alright, let's see if she sparks at all. I don't think it's sparking at all. I don't think it's hitting at all. Alright. Yeah, so with this top off, you can really see how filthy this thing is. It's really, really bad. And it looks like it's already been off because there is a screw. There's a screw missing back here, so somebody's already had this off at one point trying to mess with it. But it's crusted with filth, and I would be willing to bet it's probably so filthy under here that it's that the magneto's not working. Yep. Okay. Now what do we got? Oh yeah, it is just, dude, it's so filthy in here. It's actually making me kind of wheeze. Yeah, you know, it could be the plug, and it could also be the magneto. Let me change the plug, and we'll see if we get any spark with a different plug. I don't think we're gonna. I guess I could look back at the video and see if we actually got any spark, because I couldn't tell. I mean, I don't see anything going on with that. And actually, it's this gap and this gap. I think, and it's so filthy right here. There's shit all in here. I think this whole thing needs to be just completely blown off, and this cleaned. So either I need to unscrew this and back it out and clean it, or just take this off. Need a piece of emery cloth or some light sandpaper. Cover your ears before I put this back on. I want to blow all of that out. Alright, let's see if she sparks now. Whoops. Not gonna spark like that. Okay. I think we might have a burned coil. That's about, or a bad spark plug. Let me get a different spark plug. Okay, I've got one, same one. It's actually out of the same style motor. The only difference is the carb on the other one is a bit different, but this one is the same spark plugs. Let's see if we have any spark on this. We should get spark regardless. I'm thinking this, we got a bad magneto. Probably what happened is it got covered up with gunk and burned up. I bet you that's what happened. Well, we could test it. Pull the one off the other one over there. Put it on here and test it. See if that's the problem. I can also see that this is stuck. Okay, so this lever right here, see this runs up to this pull handle. The problem is this pull handle, when you pull it, it's not actually pulling on the wire. The tension's all wrong. It's had some damage or something at some point. And what it should be doing is, when it's engaged and ready to start, it should be pulling this off. Where is it? Which way? Oh, that wrong way. What the hell am I doing? Oh yeah, here we go. This should go like this. And you see this this right here is the kill, and that is the ground. And that wire runs over to the magneto and grounds this out so that it kills any spark whenever you release. So that lack of spark is what kills the engine. And plus this brake right here slows it down as well. But the brake comes off, and this right here gets ungrounded all in one motion. That's exactly what's happening. And this wire right here is not properly tensioned, and I don't know why. I'll have to figure that out in a minute. Tried the spark plug. I have cleaned off the magneto gap. We're gonna see here now whether we're even getting anything out of this magneto at all. I have a sneaking suspicion we are not. Let's see. All right. Well, I'm getting some voltage, but it doesn't appear to be enough to make anything happen. Okay. I was setting this thing to max. I got 4 volts out of it. I don't know if that's enough to trigger a spark. I don't think it is. I think it needs to be higher voltage than that. Okay, here's the new magneto on. Okay, this may be next to impossible to see in the daytime, but let's see if we can see a spark here. Yep, it's sparking. Okay, that's sparking for sure. I want to check the old magneto one more time just to make sure before I condemn it. Well, you know what? This thing's condemned anyway because the spark plug arm broke off. So that's condemned regardless. Doesn't matter. We may as well see it. We may as well see if it runs because it's there. Something fired. Okay, there's a spring there, and this little regulator spring thingy has to come off. It's the throttle, actually, excuse me. I gotta get this damn thing back off to get this off. I do. Okay. Now then, this linkage, come off of there. Okay. Let's see, we did have some garbage in this bowl. It wasn't too bad, but it did have some in it. Man, we've definitely got a bunch around it. Okay. I guess let's put it back in there and try it. It's about the only thing I know to do. Hear my chickens back there? Kind of freaking out about something. Well, I screwed that gasket right there all up. We're getting spark. I replaced the magneto, so I know for a fact we're now getting spark. I'm gonna have to cut this old magneto off of there. I've got a new one on there that I pulled from this engine temporarily. But I think what's going on is one of the valves is stuck. Something's going on where we're not getting proper compression. I believe that's the problem, because we are getting spark. We're definitely getting gasoline into the system, and I can show you how I know that. Watch this. Okay, when I try to start it, you're going to see like a fine mist of gasoline come flying out of the carburetor. I want to prop the throttle wide open so I know that it's shooting as much gas in there as it possibly can. So the throttle's propped wide open, and even for good measure, I can pop the choke open. You're going to see gasoline spew out when I try to start this. So check it out. You see it? Okay, this is probably going to make a big mess when this comes off here, because there's going to be oil. There's going to be oil in here, so I really need something to catch it. But before I get this thing all the way off, I think I want to prop the front of it up. Prop up these front wheels, so hopefully most of the oil will stay in there. Oh yeah, there's our problem right there. Obvious. Look how obvious that is. You see the little, there's a ring there for seating. You can see the valve. You can see this is the main piston over here, and these valves are supposed to, oscillate open and close. This one's doing its job. That's the intake, and this will be the exhaust valve up here that's getting stuck. Now, see, there's a little seat there that it's supposed to go into. And that little ring was stuck. You know, I'm thinking that right there might actually solve the problem just with what we've done there. But I want to get in here. I want to clean some of this up. I want to definitely wipe this surface down real well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that ring seated easily or not. I'll kind of have to see. I might. What I might do is, with the valve closed, I might gently tap on it with a wooden, maybe with a piece of wood. Like, you know, get this here, get a hammer and tap that to see if I can kind of seat that back down a little better. So let's. There, that's going. There's our gasket come off. That's all right. We got to clean that anyway. Yeah, that helped a lot. Now watch it. Now it's opening and closing like it's supposed to. And while that's wide open, I want to get behind there with a rag and wipe that seat as clean as I can get it, because the state it was in was, you know, was all cockeyed in there, so it's probably filthy too. Yeah, I'm just gonna clean this valve seat as best I can without taking the entire engine apart. You know, I'm not trying to do all that today, for sure. Look at all this grass junk here that we don't need. The bore looks pretty decent. There's one or two little marks here I can see, but other than that, I mean, it's not bad. Yeah, I did not know that there was a separate ring on these engines for the valve seat. I did not know that. But I'm just kind of reaching up in there, like I said, and cleaning it the best I can. It would probably help me to get a little stick or something. That'll work. A little screwdriver. And you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going up under the valve seat and clean all the way around. You know, ideally, like I said, you want to take this apart entirely and, you know, probably relap the valves and all that if you want it to really seal and run great. But this is as far as I'm willing to go with a junk mower I found off the street, you know what I mean? All right. Now with that valve fully open, we'll do the same thing here while we're in here. Just get as much of that carbon buildup off of the valve seat as possible. And that's looking good now. That's actually doing what it should do. I do want to go ahead, while I'm at it, go ahead and give that a couple more taps, since I might have loosened it by messing around with it. You definitely want to use a piece of wood or something to do this, something that's soft. Don't use metal on metal. It will just damage something if this happens to one of your engines. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Here's the inside of the valve cover. We do have a lot of buildup here, you know, but that's to be expected from a used mower. And it's really wet in here from fuel, which, like I said, it was spewing. The throttle was wide open, so it was spewing the excess fuel back out of the carburetor valve, basically exhaling the stuff back into the air because it couldn't burn it. It's no compression. Okay. Wipe our gasket down a bit. I bet you she runs now. What do you want to bet? Second pull, third pull. So basically that's the three things that your mower needs to run. You need a fuel supply, you need spark, and you need compression. Those are the three essentials, and if you have two of the pieces of the equation and it's still not starting, then something, obviously is wrong with the third piece of the equation, which is just how we came to the conclusion we needed to take this off and check the valves. So, and stuck valves are somewhat of a common problem because what ends up happening on them, I think, is that the fuel and all of the crud that gets in there kind of crystallizes and forms almost a kind of a paste or a glue of sorts. So it just makes it where it doesn't the spring won't pop the valve back out, so it ends up getting stuck. In this case, what happened was that ring came out and lodged itself in there. So what we're going to do is tighten each one of these down just to the point of more or less finger tight. Technically, these are you're supposed to torque these with a torque wrench, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make sure that I tighten it enough to be on there, but not too tight that I damage the gasket or something like that. It's not rocket science, But yeah, if I wanted to, if this was a mower I really cared a lot about, I probably wouldn't do it without torquing it. You definitely don't want to over tighten the bolts, put it that way. And like a drum head, you want to kind of spread it around while you're tightening it up. Do each bolt a little at a time. And don't overdo it because you can break the bolt off, and that's the last thing you want. Alright, that's pretty well on there now. Okay, that's good. The thing about this whole area of the engine, you know, it's going to get hot because that's where the main explosions are happening. So this is all going to heat up and then cool down, heat up and cool down. So we may check it later on to make sure those bolts haven't backed out or anything like that. This old magneto's damaged, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off of there. Maybe I'll leave as much wire on there as possible. Maybe I can rig something up to work with it later on. I think the coil was okay, it just wasn't delivering spark for some reason. I think it might have been due to that piece was weakened or something. It may have been a problem that somebody created when they were trying to fix the other problem. You know, that happens a lot when you're taking the spark plug on and off a lot. You know, they may have created that problem with the magneto by trying to fix the other problem or diagnose it. Alright, it should be in a position now where we can try to start it. So what do you want to guess? Second pull, third pull, maybe even first pull. Let's see. My bet's on third pull. Okay, so you can see that the muffler wasn't really on there that well. Something's up with the muffler. It's loose. It may even be that somebody tried to take that off at one point. I don't know, but you could see it. You could see it was, you know, there was exhaust fumes coming out of around the muffler as much as it was out of it. We've got some smoking going on, which I don't. That's probably a lot of stuff that was deposited while the thing was being worked on by probably me and the guy who owned it before me. Probably deposited a bunch of crap down in there in the outflow, and it's just now burning all that stuff off. So I look for it to probably smoke for a little bit, but I'm going to tighten this up. Let's see if we can get that at least a little bit tighter on there. These tabs are there to prevent the thing from accidentally shaking itself off. So I don't know why it would have. I don't know why the bolts would have moved, but it may be just that they came out far enough for him to move. That's not the right size. What size is that? Probably either 7/16 or 11 millimeter. Yeah, 7/16. There we go. That tightened up a bit. Yeah, it's good and tight now. Okay. There we go. Now then, that's better. Now we really need to, let's see, we need to button this back down. Also need to address the cable so I can make it work like it's supposed to without this thing. Okay, so I had to remove the gasket from this mower. So now I have a gasket, but this mower also, look at the air filter on this one. Here's what the air filter looked like. You can actually see through the thing. And as a result, inside the carb is just filthy. I'm not even sure how this thing was even running. It's so filthy. But it's definitely going to need a carb clean, a new gasket, and all that for this Toro to run. Also on the Toro, I've realized that when you try to pull it backwards, the drive mechanism is catching somewhere in here in the gears. So that's all going to have to be disassembled, cleaned, lubed, all that stuff too. So to make it right. But we'll do that maybe in another video. But back to this thing right here, we're going to put we'll go ahead and get this one back together. Don't let go. Okay, let her down.